It seems like every single week there's another manager that is linked with Chelsea Football Club in case Pochettino either gets sacked or leaves the club. Now, if he does get sacked, then we will pay him damages, which will cost the club millions, which will again be a problem for the financial fair play if we have to actually make some changes in the summer. So, yeah. Some difficult decisions are going to be made at Chelsea Football Club towards the end of the season, not just for the manager, but for a lot of players that will probably be sold this summer. So we've been linked with the likes of Tuchel, De Zerbi, Amorim, José Mourinho's comeback, if it's real or not, I don't know. More recently, Hansi Flick as well. So let's have a look at each and everyone's philosophy. Of course, let me know down in the comment section below which manager do you think should replace Pochettino, should he leave or get sacked. Putting the option Pochettino is also an option, by the way. And of course, thank you everyone for subscribing lately. I really appreciate that. If you're new here, maybe consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that thumbs up button. It really helps me out grow the channel. So let's start off with Roberto De Zerbi. I'll start here with two comments, one from Pep and one from Klopp. So Pep once said, is one of the most influential managers in the last 20 years, whereas Klopp said, I told De Zerbi to keep turning the football world upside down. I will watch it from some distance. I respect so much what he is doing. Some big praise here. So let's have a look. Let's go back to Roberto De Zerbi back in Italy, back with Sassuolo. So as you can clearly see here, he likes to play from the back. It has started already way back, no pun intended. So what happens here? The goalkeeper has the ball. He likes to have a goalkeeper that can play with the ball at its feet. Now, we have here a double pivot, which is placed pretty deep. Of course, a lot of these players don't even play at Sassuolo anymore. Plus, he's got two defenders next to the goalkeeper in case he needs help. And then wide players here as well to break the press. Now, why does he do this? It's basically to attract the opposition, to attract them. And then in this specific picture, you can see the goalkeeper can bypass all of these pressing players, reach the number 10 here, and you start your attack. Now with Brighton, it's exactly the same thing. Deep double pivot, two center backs in the box here in case the goalkeeper needs a quick pass. You've got the wider players making some spaces there, and then if the goalkeeper really wants, he can of course kick the ball far up the field. Now, of course, there's always a counter to this, and that's pressing extremely quickly and then making sure that one of these players here will make a mistake, and then it could lead to an easy goal. Now, when they are attacking, this is back when he was at Shakhtar, didn't spend much time there. With Shakhtar, they are combining here in tight areas with, again, the pivot, the midfield pivot here, covering in case one of them loses the ball and the opposition wants to start a counter. Back here at Brighton, what can we see? Well, first of all, the defensive line is quite high. I mean, the first big pass is being made here at the halfway line. You've got all the other players, the midfielder, the attacking players already quite up the field. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in front of what once was Moises Caicedo at Brighton. So quite an attacking build-up. But like I said, with a high attacking build-up, high and wide, if the counter press fails, then you are exposed to getting countered. As you can clearly see here, this was back when they played Everton. I mean, we've seen this with Brighton over and over and over again. So currently, how are they performing? Well, in the Premier League, they conceded 57 goals, they scored 52 goals, 14.8 shots per game with 61.2% possession on average. They currently sit 12th in the league. Apparently, he also recently commented that he wants to stay at Brighton, so at least there's that, because I don't really want to see him at Chelsea. Moving on to a coach we know very, very well, and that's Thomas Tuchel. Of course, we know Thomas Tuchel from his time at Chelsea, currently at Bayern München, not going to win the league, actually might not win a title unless it's the Champions League. Currently, he is going to leave the club at the end of the season. Now back here at Borussia Dortmund, he was playing 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1. In this case here, you know the players. You play here with a sort of triangle with Mkhitaryan, Nuri Sahin and Weigl. Then you've got Eric Durm and Piszczek, the full backs or left back, right back in this case. And the attacking one, Kagawa, force 9-ish, or they switched it up with Ramos and Reus. Then what happens here with Mkhitaryan, of course, since this is a triangle one, he can try and put the ball right here, goes to Rose. Either he sees Piszczek, passes to Piszczek, then the cross enters the box. Kagawa enters here. If he doesn't get the ball, maybe Ramos gets it. Or Mkhitaryan sees the press, goes back to Weigl, Weigl to Piszczek. Piszczek advances. In the meantime, Rose, Kagawa, and Ramos are all advancing in the box. A cross and a goal. Then moving on to Paris Saint-Germain, you've got here a back three, Marquinhos, Silva, Kimpembe, with Meunier and Kehrer here at fullbacks. It's a bit of the same thing that he used at Chelsea with Reece James and Chilwell. And then here you've got Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah, for example, but more on that in just a second. In the midfield, in case these are pressed, you've got Rabiot here, very versatile player, Julian Draxler, and then Neymar roaming about, Mbappe and Cavani. I think there was also Icardi, if I'm not mistaken. With regards to Chelsea, like I said, a back three, in this case, James and Alonso as fullbacks, back three, Azpilicueta, Christensen, and Zuma, with a midfield pivot of, in this case here, Jorginho and Kovacic. Could use Kante as well. That will be in the next picture. We were using here Hudson-Odoi, Havertz, and Werner. Now in this case, in this scenario, you've got Hudson-Odoi here with the ball. What can he do here? He can try to play it back to Zuma, Zuma back to Christensen. Maybe Christensen finds the ball here for Reece James, or you can completely switch it around. He turns here, Havertz sees it, he makes the run, he sees the run, or passes it to Alonso, or directly passes it to Havertz, also depending on Werner whether or not he takes a player with him. Then on the flip side, a defensive press here. So Leicester here, Leicester player has the ball, of course, complete isolation. You've got one center back, in this case Rudiger, making sure he joins the press, which of course leaves an open space here between Silva and Rudiger. But since you've got a crazy midfielder like N'Golo Kante who can cover 70% of the world, he can make the effort and get into that blank spot here. Then you've got Jorginho joining in, Hudson-Odoi joining in as well. Chilwell, since this is a natural position, he's obviously here. What happens if we get the ball? Well, if we get the ball, it's pretty simple. It's an easy counter and probably could lead to a goal. Right now with Bayern, 4-2-3-1 with Kane at top. These are the stats. 89 goals scored, 38 conceded, 19.7 shots per game, 62.4% possession. They, of course, sit second because, well, Leverkusen can't seem to lose one game. I wouldn't mind Tuchel coming back at Chelsea. I just don't see him working with the likes of Burley or Egbali after what happened last time. Moving on to Ruben Amorim, so we had some reports this week and Matt Law here said that Chelsea are absolutely adamant that the club did not pay for a flight for Ruben Amorim to visit London last week and did not hold any meetings or talks with him. Now, he's coach of Sporting Lisbon in Portugal. He plays 3-4-3. He's been playing that formation for quite a while. Now, of course, with that formation, you need very specific players with a very specific profile. Since great talent grow up and evolve at Sporting, then get bought by plenty of other clubs in Europe, some of these players, of course, don't play there anymore, those that you can see here on the picture, but he always needs to replace them with specific profiles, since this is basically the formation, this is basically his style of play, 3-4-3, adaptable back three with a double pivot. Why is that important? Well, because as you can see on this screen right here, we've got a rotating front three, which again, specific profiles are needed for this to work. Plus you've got the wing backs making the runs here to create even more spaces to stretch the opposition. You've got the double pivot here with the back three, making sure that this is a defensive block in case Edwards, in this case, loses the ball and they start a counter. Then when they don't have the ball, basically directly press here, occupy the central areas, in this case with Nunez. Then you've got the attacking players, the forward press happening at the same time. Then when they don't get the ball, it's basically pretty simple. Press, occupy central area, and then the forwards press as well. The stats for this season: 89 goals scored, 29 conceded, 16.2 shots per game, 58.5% possession. They sit first in that league, probably champion as well. Now, I don't know why, but for some reason on social media, Chelsea fans have made this guy to be a god at football. I don't really see something that special. I think I see a good coach performing well with a specific team, with a specific system. Can he adapt? Can he change his system? Can he change the way he's playing? I don't know. I have not seen that yet. So again, this is a pass for me. Moving on quickly to Pochettino. Of course, Pochettino is the current coach at Chelsea. But if you look at Pochettino at Spurs, for example, using the formations 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-3, depending on which player has been injured or not. But basically, it's all about high press attacking. Now, in this case, the players you see on the screen here, right? Walker, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Rose, Dembele, Wanyama, Dyer, Eriksen, Dele Alli, Son, and Kane. Very, very good profile players, which, again, kudos to Pochettino to build such a good team. Of course, they haven't won anything, but this was a very, very strong team, great talent. Now, what's very important here are those two players here, number 12, number 19, Dembele and Wanyama, or Dyer, or even Sissoko, workhorses. In case of Dembele, someone with an extremely high football IQ, great at keeping the ball. Very, very important. Then you've got Rose and Walker, of course, Speedy Gonzalez, can run up and down. We've got genius players in Eriksen, in Son, Kane, Dele Alli back at Spurs, what's sometimes also unplayable, plus a great defending duo, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and then a good goalkeeper in Lloris. But most of them have one thing in common, is that they are, one, tall, and they were extremely fit. Then moving on to, well, José Mourinho, no comment needed. We know him inside out and sideways. But in my opinion, I mean, emotionally, yes, I want José Mourinho 3.0 at Chelsea. But is it a smart move? In my opinion, no. I don't think that right now we have a team for José Mourinho. I don't think this is the ownership that can handle a José Mourinho at Chelsea. They probably will not be able to handle someone like Antonio Conte either. Emotionally, I say yes, but I don't think it will work out. I don't think Mourinho at Rome, even though he won the Conference League, even though he should have won the Europa League, I just don't think they played good football, or whatever I've been seeing there, it has not been football at all. So unfortunately, I'll have to pass on that as well. Then more recently, I've added this last minute, Hansi Flick at Bayern München, 4-2-3-1, pretty simple, right? You've got here the attacking Lewandowski, Kingsley Coman, Gnabry, and then Müller playing side by side or just behind, I would say, Lewandowski. What happens in this case is you got the guys Gnabry and Coman coming in. What does that do? Well, it creates a clear path for Pavard and Davies. The midfield, there is one player missing here, by the way. The midfield, usually Thiago Kimmich or Thiago Goretzka, or Kimmich Goretzka, who was also an option. Why is that important to have those two in the midfield? Well, if you go into a defensive phase, first of all, you've got your defensive players. In this case, you've got center backs, Alaba, Boateng, extremely high. Davies helping out as well in case there is an extremely long ball. Speedy Gonzalez here will probably catch that. Here in the middle of the park, you've got Thiago and Kimmich making sure that the passing lines could be intercepted. Müller is coming back from an offensive position to put also a bit more pressure on the players here. Why is that? Well, because if they manage to intervene a certain pass here, it's a direct counter that will probably lead to a goal. Then last two comments from Pochettino. One, Pochettino is on trial at Chelsea until the end of the season to prove he is the right man to get the club moving in the right direction. Again, according to Footy Insider, again, I think that a coach is only as good as the players provided to him. Then, more recently, in the press conference, Pochettino here commented, again, quite aggressively, which he has been doing so in the last couple of days, which I like. So, with regards to his future, I've had enough of these stupid rumors. You need to ask the club whether the club wants me to keep going or not. If I have one more year on my contract here and no one says anything, then I suppose that I'm going to be here. If there is a decision and someone says to me, ciao, okay, but we don't know at the moment. Spoken like someone who either knows he's going to get sacked or just doesn't care anymore about these stupid questions, just wants the season to end on the highest note possible and then start again for next season, start planning in the summer who's coming in, who's going out. My verdict here is pretty clear. Get some experience in the squad and give Pochettino at least next season. If the start of the season with new players, with experience coming in, doesn't work out, then okay, have a plan B. But right now, like I said, it's been a very, very unfortunate season for all of us, right? Lots of new players coming in, lots of players coming out, a lot of players injured, right? Yesterday against Spurs, 14 injuries, just doesn't make any sense. Have you looked at our bench? I mean, was it bring your kit to work day? It was incredible. So you cannot always put the blame on Pochettino. Yes, it's true, he's a serial loser, never won anything with Spurs. Okay, fine. But you've seen some of our performances against the bigger teams this season. You cannot tell us that we are not improving, especially year over year. I made a video about that as well on the channel. I think we should be giving Pochettino at least the start of the next season with some experience coming into the summer. Of course, it's always sexier and fancy schmancier to bring an outside coach and then maybe have the new coach effect like we've seen in the past. But in my opinion, the coach is really not the biggest issue right now. It is the team, it is the injuries and the recruitment. Of course, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with that. And if you don't agree, let me know down in the comment section below. But make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not. Would really appreciate that. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.